Okay, next part on our electric collar series, shock collar series. If you're watching this and you're going to object to this, alright, the information that I'm going to pass to you just now is from the trainers that people deem to be the best shock collar trainers in the world, okay? So if people say, who should you learn shock collar from, these are two of the names that come up. I'm not going to mention them because I don't want traffic being directed to their social media accounts, because it boosts their reach, and then people who are susceptible to these using these barbaric tools then see them more. Okay, so I'm not going to mention them, but I have studied how these work. That plus the background that I have in a deep understanding of learning theory, okay, of how dogs learn, of the contingencies of what happens after behaviour that makes that behaviour more or less likely. Okay, Sonny's got a yak stick to keep him settled just now. All right. Now there's this notion of conditioning the collar. So people say that these guys say that we condition the collar first to tell the dog that we don't just stick the collar on and start shocking them, okay? So there are trainers that do that. They just put the collar on, find where it gets a reaction from the dog, and that's the level that they use it at, okay? So what these guys do with the collar is, the very first thing they'll do is they put the collar on and they set it to 0. So 0 is no beep, no vibrate, okay, or at this level, okay, no beep, no vibrate, but there's a shock coming through, okay, so there is electricity being applied to the dog. Now, what they'll do is, say that the collar goes up from 1 to 30, for example, or 1 to 100. They start at 1 and press the button, okay. Now, with shock collars, there's 2 settings to it, at least 2 settings. For the good ones, either a nick, which is like that, so it just on and off, on off, on off, and then there's the continuous one, which is an on off, okay, so it comes on and then comes off. All right, so those are the 2 settings for it. So they set it on the nick setting, okay, where it just gives that like that, and they put it on the lowest level possible without a beep or a vibration, and see if the dog reacts to it. If the dog doesn't react to it, what they'll do is they turn it up to the next level and they press it again, and what they do is they keep going through this until they get a reaction from the dog. And very often what will happen, the reaction that the dog gets, is the dog does this and scratches at the collar, okay, as if they're scratching their ear. But what they've said at this point is, that's important enough to get my attention, okay? Now, it's important enough that I want you to stop doing it. What was that? Okay, it's explained as a fly landing on your skin. A fly lands on your skin and starts crawling about, you will do something to bat that fly off, okay? Now, who likes a fly landing on them, okay? People do this because they want to remove the fly that's landed on them. So we've got the fly removes, we move, so the fly lands on us and we move to remove that annoying sensation. So it's annoying, painful, or uncomfortable enough that causes the dog to act, behave, in order to get this off. All right. So that's the first stage of it. Okay, and that's now the working level. All right, that's the minimum level that they use the electric collar at. Some dogs will be, I don't want to call them harder, okay, it'll take it turning up more before the dog starts to notice it, and other dogs it will be much less. All right, so as I've said before in these videos, I don't get to decide what you like and what you don't like. You don't get to decide what I like and what I don't like, okay? So when people had some joker the other day came on and said that I was being over dramatic in my demonstration, I wasn't. I was from the heart and it was honest. And he said that he's tried it on a level 9 and it goes up to a 10 and it didn't bother him. Yeah, bully for you, mate. Okay, well done. You've got high pain tolerance, all right, to electricity, all right? And it'll also depend on the model as well. That's not your dog's experience, all right? Your experience is not your dog's experience. My experience is not your experience, all right? I like things that you don't like, okay, and you like things that I don't like, All right, it's just the nature of it. Dog gets to decide. So the lowest setting that we set it on, that's the working level, and then I'll show you how it's conditioned now. Alright, for the relevance, or for this video, this little guinea pig model is going to be the dog, and this is going to be the platform. Alright, so what happens when we're conditioning, right, in inverted commas, a collar is we put the collar on the dog. Alright, now what will happen is that we have the collar on the dog and a lead on the dog, and we have the remote control, the electric shock collar remote control in our hand. What we do is we put tension on the lead and start shocking the dog. Okay, now it's a continuous shock, so the dog starts moving forward on a continuous shock. So the dog gets shocked, 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 shocked. Okay, continuous shock, and when it goes onto the platform, the tension in the collar, the tension in the lead is removed, and the shock is removed. Okay, so what these guys are starting to do, are doing at this point, is they're saying to the dog, if you follow lead pressure and return to the bed, okay, or the platform, I will stop shocking you. All right, so they'll do that again. All right, so lead tension, shock, 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 lead tension off, and the shock off. All right, so we've got lead tension, and then shock gets removed. All right, so they'll do the process as many times as needed, and what they then start doing is they then start moving towards the platform without lead tension and shock the dog. When the dog comes on, they take the shock off. Alright, so they're now not using lead pressure, but they're still using shock. Alright, then we start building a cue. We say go to bed, we start shocking the dog. When the dog goes onto the bed, the dog stops getting shocked. Alright, so we've got a negative reinforcement contingency. Alright, the behaviour that is being reinforced is the going to the bed, okay, and lying down or whatever, but going to the bed and staying on the bed. And the reinforcer, the reason why the dog is doing that, is to escape, okay, the shock of the collar and the pressure of the lead. Okay, and very often this is done with a slip lead as well, or a prong collar. All right, so that's how that works, negative reinforcement contingency. All right, now what they then do is they then test it, and they will tell the dog to go to bed. Okay, so the dog goes to the bed. If the dog doesn't go to the bed, the dog starts getting shocked, and it's led to the bed, and then the shock is removed. Okay, if the dog goes to the bed, all right, it doesn't get shocked. Okay, but what will happen is the dog will start testing that to see is that true. So it goes further, doesn't, it will move, stop, dog gets shocked, onto the bed, shock gets removed. Okay, and we just keep doing this until the dog starts to understand. We don't, I don't, okay, but these guys do, these people do. They keep doing it until the dog understands, right, when the cue is given, you're going to hurt me or annoy me or cause me discomfort until I go into the bed, and then you'll remove it. Okay, and that's go back and forward. So the dog now starts learning how to turn off the electric collar, all right, turn off the shock. And now what we do is we now give the dog a warning beforehand, and the warning is either both or either or of the buzz, so the tone, okay, the beep of the shock collar, and the buzz. Okay, now with some dogs really don't like the vibration either. All right, so sometimes the vibration is enough, but it's working in exactly the same method. Okay, so if the dog doesn't like the vibration, what you'll do is you tell the dog go to bed, you start vibrating the collar, vibrate, 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 and the dog goes to there, and the vibration gets removed. Exactly the same contingency. I'll go into the bed, you'll stop vibrating the collar on my neck, or you'll stop shocking me. Okay, now that's how conditioning in inverted commas works. What will then happen is we use the tone, we don't, they do, okay, they use the tone or the vibration, and if the dog doesn't respond to that, they then go back to the shock, and if the dog doesn't respond to the shock, they up the shock level. Okay, now that's just how that works. Okay, that's it in its entirety. When the applications may be more nuanced or not, but that's now what is referred to as conditioning the collar. Okay, so the last part to this, the other thing that happens that shock collar trainers may or may not do when they go through the process I've just gone through with you, is that they give a dog a treat at the end. All right, now this is somehow paying some sort of bizarre tip of the hat to classical conditioning, and it's not, okay. It's so far beyond anything which is actually relevant to classical conditioning. I don't even know where to start with it. So what happens is the dog comes onto the platform. Once the shock is removed, the dog is then given a treat. Okay. Now, if you start punching me in the face and I can't do anything about that, and then you stop punching me in the face and give me a treat, it doesn't make the face punching any easier or any more pleasant to me, okay, in my experience, okay. So even during this process, if the dog, if we're no longer using the shock because the dog has started learning that the quicker I get back to that platform, the less likely it is that I'll get shocked. Even under that circumstance where we don't shock the dog during that learning process and we give the dog a treat, the dog still isn't working to gain access to the treat. So Sonny is sitting at my feet just now. I train on using positive reinforcement with him, access to food and to toys. So when I ask him to do a behaviour and he does it, he gets food or toys. He is not doing that to avoid anything bad from me, anything aversive from me, okay, or from the environment. He is just doing that to access the good stuff, okay. So when trainers use the process that I've just shown you and they give the dog a treat or they don't give the dog a treat, treat's not even relevant. It's just some sort of salve to their conscience, or it's some bizarre tip of the hat to positive reinforcement training, which it's not. It's just not, okay. So that's just the nonsense that goes with this stuff in order to tart it up and make it somehow more palatable to either themselves because they don't know enough about learning theory, they are deluding themselves, they're lying to themselves, or to make it more palatable to the public who they are deluding and lying to as well by saying that it's not unpleasant or painful for the dog. Alright.